Welcome to our lovely future humans and those who do understand how steadiness under pressure. It's not something you have to do, it is something that you choose to do and you build it moment by moment, day after day. And that's thanks to staying true to yourself and being yourself. That's what IHP has always been about. And today we celebrate 16 years of IHP and all of those of you besides the community members who are inspiring human potential by choosing to be yourself. And that also means emotional regulation skills. So what's life without emotional regulation skills? Well, it's not the best life, that's for sure. And so thank you to all of you who do choose to dedicate yourselves to being a true leader and embodying self-leadership. It happens every time you're presented with the opportunity to grow steadiness under pressure. For those of you who use journaling and self-reflective mindset practices to pursue growth and self-leadership, I wanted to celebrate this lovely anniversary with sharing one of our journal prompts and micro habit practices. And if you do enjoy doing journaling and self-reflection for growth, not the catharsis in a way that sends you validating yourself, we talked about that in the short, PayHip. You can check out the PayHip store and you can subscribe to Substack for further reflections. And there's a free Substack reflection arena area, and there will eventually be also a paid one where we will have exercises like these and more. I'm still deciding on the content calendar. Okay, so here's what you can add to your list of self-inquiry prompts and the micro habit practice that will go with it. Get your pen and paper or your phone. And we're going to have a short that has slides, so you can also check that one out later, or I might share the pictures as well. That's right. For those of you who are hearing me, not seeing me, Spotify and other podcasts listeners, you will want to head to YouTube, or if I do get the chance, I will share on Instagram, and I'll try to keep in mind, maybe I can share the pictures on Instagram so you guys can find them, and YouTube. But you'll want to go somewhere else if you're going to look for the written pictures. Okay. How has practicing steadiness under pressure helped me stay true to myself, support my loved ones, and human potential? Micro habit practice. Take note of those moments over a period of time. I gave you 2 weeks to a month, but you can choose more, less. I don't know if you can observe much in less, but it's your journalism and your practice, so you do what you want. Just you want enough data, like with marketing, you need at least 3 months of data before you can have some kind of idea of what's working and what's not. And for you to observe yourself, and actually with self-awareness, and I don't know how practiced you are, like I can totally notice my charges and a lot more, but panic attacks gave me a lot of practice. And then it's really, every situation is different. So we and biosphere depends if we're talking about 1, 10, 20, family, strangers. Is it business? Not. Okay, so it's always funny because our amygdala will always be alerted to that which is of interest to us. And so it's always about society, but still, we're all motivated differently, if you will. And I don't know where you're at, again, with the self-mastery. Okay, so from your observations, however long you decide to take, note 3 ways. 1, you grow emotional depth, mental clarity, and resilience. 2, you support others in becoming steady while activated and grow their emotional regulation capacity. Now that happens because you are self-regulating. So when you're with someone, that we is Dr. Daniel Siegel's words, because we're always connected and we're social beings, so we automatically co-regulate. And then there's the biosphere for Terriel. He only talks about it in terms of couples, but the reality is you're going to have it even without couples. But that's why I said before, every dynamic will be different. When you're working with your own growth, it'll be easy because your child parts are asleep, or if you don't call them child parts, your charges, however you term those, and usually you'll have pieces of your history that you will know you're working through. And that's why we have a new year ahead of us. So we're getting to expand all those who have an ego and a self, united, integrated brains. That's the 5D collective. So steady self-image. Again, you don't choose steadiness under pressure because you have to. You choose it because you're building on purpose. life with emotional regulation skills, which means you're going to be more intelligent. Mental clarity comes. You're going to be more aware. You're going to have more ventral energy, and you're going to have a fun time with. I'm going to pause and so I can get number 3. You model higher human conscious potential in day-to-day life, the work environment, and elsewhere. Now, people might think that you don't affect human potential evolution, but you do, because the true leader is the leader who self-regulates, while the ignorant folk continue to follow their epistemic lazy ass not leaders to me, and they can continue using the words however they want, because that's exactly what they'll put. You use it. Yep, I am. So long story short, though, let's remember to calm down the 3-year-old, stay fascinated, and remember, what's your ultimate goal? So people who use catharsis, emotional lightness, clarity, relief after processing overwhelming feelings. You don't want to use it and it's not about words. What you want to understand is when it comes up, sensations, images, behaviors, affects, meanings. Thanks, Peter Levine. You have a steady self-image, you will easily, like when I've done it, the panic attacks and other, self-regulate in the presence of another, we, and the biosphere, and it won't only be one. It can be 1, 10, 20, 100 million. It doesn't matter, because we're social beings. So we co-regulate, but physiologically, the state of compassion, you're a badass, because that's what discernment and equanimity is. And equanimity, common-centeredness is badassness. Everything else is a not expanding window of tolerance, and they will do the catharsis. And so their journaling is useless. Excuse me, I'm sorry. They validate each other, and they validate themselves. Seems like people try to make us get over feelings. No. Why would you want to ever get over grief? Grief, look, grief is... And that's called pseudo-aliveness, children. It's disgusting to a person who's like, how old are you? What's your degree? Wow, okay, you know what? Oh my gosh, you really don't know. You are not yet. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Thank you. As God reminds me, Peter Levine, remember what you learned from the smart therapists and all my teachers that taught me. And so I'm not going to do that. I invite you to. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. Let me reorganize my wording for those who don't understand. Window welcome right here in front of you. So twin flames, you better bet they don't do shit to a person who's like, excuse me, life's too short. I do have purpose right now. And I don't understand why you would make it so challenging and difficult to do something so simple. Build a relationship. Doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is. It's just a relationship. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, no, I know rejection. I was rejected at 4. It just doesn't make any sense. There's a door. Eric, you can go. The Little Mermaid. Yeah, I'm never going to give up. Never. What's that song? Anybody? Okay, so those were the 3 micro habit practices. And as you practice the training the pause, you can thank my entire oversoul for what you see in front of you. That's why I'm like, yeah, 3 twin flames right here. Oh, nobody tested shit. The only thing I can thank is God for keeping me away from every single bit of all of it, because otherwise, the way I am, yeah, I would have been ashamed of Maria. Right now, in this moment in time, I'd be like, Maria. And then I would be like, but wait, you were ignorant, Maria. Yes, you were ignorant about the embodied brain and what the 0-1-year-old and the 3 to 7-year-old is. It's not your fault you didn't know that you can't fix shame or unhealthy fear or delusional people with non-bilaterally brains who choose to disregard their maladaptive patterns of behavior. All these smart scientists out there who are giving them all the keys to get healed, to go to them though. Even the ones who don't have the money have the therapists who give them free stuff and say, look, here's how you can handle it while you wait to get the money so they can get to it. So long story short, there's no excuses for why someone can't get their active window of tolerance eventually to window welcome if they take themselves seriously. But I do need to remind myself, the ones who want to tell me that the world is not all the same. And I say, I know, but we want to create embodied self-leaders. So in the meantime, while the world continues with the fake leaders who are actively not supporting embodied self-leadership, the embodied self-leaders can practice that which we preach. Thank you, Jesus, God, Holy Spirit, and mother, and twin, and younger sister, and grandparents, and fathers, and uncles, and aunts, and the extended entire family, and all of humanity. And I should thank most of all those who are, yes, Dan Martell, mediocre people. I know who they are, but believe me, if there's one thing I get to practice is the humility God just told me to remind myself to have, and over here and everyone, and I'm like, I'm still smiling because we win, ha 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 ha. And I'm like, damn it, hold on a minute, they don't know they lost. That's what happens. Shit. Okay, well, and then God's laughing at me right now. It's like, yeah, you know how that's work. How it works. Excuse me. Sorry. The ones who think that we need to be tested and that somehow they're gonna have proof. Oh man, anybody know of all those stories? There's that one that very poor lady who goes house to house begging for food. The Good Samaritan? No, that's another story. But my point is, I always remember those stories. So many people can easily give to each other, and yet when studies are given of people having to lift someone off the floor with a football team jersey from the team of theirs, they will more likely pick them up. The football team jersey of the opposing team, they will more likely leave them on the ground. And if it's a neutral jersey team, they will have mixed results. The 14-month-old amygdala rules every person that doesn't rule themselves. So thank you to those of you who embody self-leadership. And again, as you practice training the pause and regulating your nervous system under activation and choosing to live a life of meaning and connection beyond your solo self, so you, your loved ones, we, and biosphere to the extended humanity, and as lovely, thank you, Sadhguru. I was thinking of the other name, but another name of a scientist. Sadhguru had me promise in one of his inner engineering courses to love one by one by one all billions, and then he made it also public. And I'm like, yeah, I already did that with God, Jesus, and Holy Spirit. I didn't need you to do it, but I did it again, and I got all teary-eyed. And then as we're promising this, I'm like, how many of the people who took these courses and who are continuing to take his course are going to actually fulfill this and then love the entire globe? It doesn't matter what the political, religious, or any of those other beliefs are and truths of. So if you have opposing, you can, hey, what's up? Let's talk. Hey, let's have a good time. And so here's why life, it's amazing with emotional regulation skills, because that's where mental clarity comes from, and the capacity to not fall for your own affective realism and your own subjective opinions and your own biases and your own and your own everything, which is why I won't be, can I invite you to? Here's the deal. You can be strong emotionally, or you can go hang out with the ones who like to, again, catharsis and vent and then pat each other. They're trying to make us get over our feelings. Oh, there's the Enlightenment Soul Age group, and there's the other Soul Age groups. It's a real deal. Well, it's one way I can explain to you how I explain to myself why there's choice points and how some people definitely will choose not to. I found it hard to believe the first years of life, and then there's also, I want it to be well, but is right, it feels right. So people deny their feelings because they deny their first 3 years of life. You're not a 2.0 version. How old are you? Great. So the first 16 years of your life, trauma charges build up. That doesn't mean you have fragmentation or any of that. That's a whole other story. So if you're lucky like I am and you have a higher self and you got only the child parts and you're in the lead, awesome. Steady self-image. Here we come. And therefore you continue to thank the practice of pausing, and you'll notice how the capacity for staying grounded in aliveness, not pseudo-aliveness, grows. And so ventral energy is why you feel more alive. Eustress is why even in moments of activation, you're not distressed, because you're like, oh wait, and you self-regulate. So it gets easier. And these are the benefits of maintaining and having a steady self-image, being yourself, under pressure, choosing to be a true leader or a love-based leader if you prefer that, not the fear-based ones which are using unhealthy fear for their dysregulation. Was not their choice, and it was not a monster's gift. Nope, it was a womb and a household and a bunch more. There's explanations. Yes, I'm an Akashic record reader. There are past lives, but this life is good enough for people to close on out all of that which they brought within this life. So, just saying. We're doing dharma now. This is not karma. Even though we can build karma, but we're on a planet that is now enlightened, thanks to the scientists who teach self-regulation and how important it is to get to a good therapist, EMDR, child parts work, somatics, if you want wholeness. Once your playground is a playground, and I'm being serious because you know how many people are in Reddit groups, subreddit groups, that are about emotional intelligence, and there is none yet. They ask for advice where I'm like, okay, this is simple therapy for you, for couples, for family, EMDR, child parts work, somatics. Wait till you're done, whenever it is, and then don't do, I want to, yeah, I want to know. And use journaling to gain growth for yourself. So decentralizing in the self and religious experiences. Thanks, Patrick McNamara, for those of you who have downloads and astral travel and a bunch more. If you have a steady self-image, right here. no matter what you do and where you go and all of that, you don't get lost. Yeah, I never got lost. But I grew up with Jesus, God, Holy Spirit. So when I became a mystic, did I mention I'm a co-author of the book, The Ways to God? If you want, you can go ahead and purchase it and read it. It's one chapter out of the however many, 9. I think we're 9 total spiritual authors. But yeah, there's other chapters, so you can hear different stories. But in mine, it's a little bit about my good Christian Catholic catechist's upbringing and how God is discerning, quantumist love, and he's always been at my side. So he can be at everybody's side, but obviously everybody has different ways that they talk about it. Sad to say, people fighting over it, but that's the left brainers. When non-bilaterally integrated brain people can't handle that A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P touch each other. That's why my facade friend called me a hypocrite. So people who aren't enjoying learning new things and who don't have, so they don't have epistemic curiosity, but also discipline, and they don't have emotional maturity because they lack emotional regulation. And the fact that affective realism is not real. So your strong emotions don't make what you're speaking a fact. And if we really need facts, then as Neil deGrasse points out, there's objective truths, and science is not, whether you believe in it or not, they'll present you data. So quantitative analyses. Qualitative are hypotheticals, but if they're good, they will also integrate quantitative data analysis. But still, they haven't replicated in a way to make it bulletproof proof. That's exactly why we still have flat earthers. No, that's why they came to be around, and now we have a bunch more. And so that's where they are at. The 3D, 4D brothers and sisters, the ones who choose to sound like they know shit, and then will notice that they're just epistemically lazy and part of a group that thinks they're better than the other group and are divisive, therefore. And so they don't really grow when they journal. They just say, that bitch, that whore, that horrible, blah, 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 and, or laundry, there's no enlightenment, so age because we have laundry. You just objectified your tears. I think the Zen master doesn't own his attached panicky. I own my attached panicky. Yeah, she comes up. So, anyways, as we close, thanks for listening to me, and thanks for celebrating the 16th year of IHP. Beginning with the blog, and we'll see about how long the podcast is. I forget the anniversary, but if I'm not mistaken, it should be August. So the benefits of the bright sides of neuroplasticity, of emotional regulation capacity, and maintaining a steady self-image. So embodied self-leadership. It takes place as you regulate depth and intensity. This is how you build steadiness under pressure and enter the flow state, which, as neuroscientists point out, is what you can do, what I can do. So people who are not yet here, like I was trying to get at even in the short, if you're using journaling and reflection to simply empty, sure, great, you emptied yourself out, but you didn't do anything to strengthen the emotional plane. And so you don't objectify and you don't put on a pedestal grief. It's an active practice in the moment. It's a healthy release, which is way different than just throwing stuff on paper. But that's the part of awareness, accountability, regulation. You right here. You say, I'm going to grow depth. Not, it seems like people are trying to make us get over our emotions. You know, discernment people, equanimity people, neutral people are fake. They don't have feelings. You just want to say, I want to live my charge and stay in my charge. And there you go. I mean, that's really what it is. But the ones who are able to expand the window of welcome is because the point is you don't actually empty and not know what's happening. So neutrality supports you to know the feeling came up because I have a certain amount of feelings. Things are going down, and there you go. Okay, I think I've explained enough, and welcome again. Check out PayHip, Substack, YouTube, subscribe, Spotify, and do remember Steadiness Under Pressure. For all of those of you who do enjoy it, it is something you don't have to do. You choose to do it and build it moment by moment and day by day as you stay true to yourself. And as you do this, the deeper resources to support your process and continue strengthening your capacity in your day-to-day life, PayHip and Substack. So life, it's better with emotional regulation than without. And being yourself the smart way, that's also awesome. Stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable, And above all, guess who you're giving the biggest gift of all to? To all of us. Because we get to meet you without that mask. And then you get to leave a legacy behind and show children, actual children, what it takes to be themselves and to use our lovely human makeup, restored embodiment. It's a real deal. So everyone has the capacity, bright sides of neuroplasticity, regulating your nervous system, all healed child parts, the charges, all that. And instead of seeking for life's purpose, you're living your life's purpose, because the question is lived through a state of ease, even as we get thrown uncertainties, unexpected, unwanted, on everything, and the whole twin flame and flame stuff and whatever you've heard from the mystic community, just so we can close on out. I know the timeline, and I'm sad to say that when I hear that which has become basically groupies, because that's where the narrative is what's happened, at least I can say that I understand these individuals lack the capacity to find meaning behind their significance as a human being. Your 0-1-year-old has meaning, your 3 to 7, your freeze of all ages, your 11, 12, your 14, 15, 16, all your child charge parts have meaning. Deep emotions, they're part of you, not me. They're part of you, and you share. Then there's all of the other years that come. So the sad part when people don't become themselves, that we don't get to meet them. The happy part is that we get to meet you. And then we get to remember what free will is, or choice points, or basically what ignorance is, and what also lack of possibility is. So you're choosing to leave behind that which is an embodied self-leader for however many few or many people you get to affect their lives. And that sounds like nothing, but it isn't. And in the meantime, as a collective, we work together. And if the 5D is here, is because our species has expanded. We don't need a story, by the way, because if I look at the little tadpole, we're at biology in the cell. We evolve. Natural selection is not good or bad, but there is a story to it. And the ones who can't understand by being grounded in everyday life, like you have today, right now, it's called they get overwhelmed. And that's because we feel small, but that's not what we are. And I found out from this one person that we affect, I forget, is a certain number of people. So even if you affect one group of people with your presence and you being able to maintain self-regulation, show self-regulation, that's why the questions, the micro-habit questions, or the micro-habit examples to look at. And long story short, though, yeah, you will always making a difference. So we'll be back with more again. Thanks for stopping by.